These headphones look very weird on my head, but hello. It is Saturday. I normally don't start vlogs on Saturday, but I am taking a 2-week backpacking trip at the end of this month. It is late November, so I want to get started with this reading vlog. Plus, I'm super excited because Kindle Unlimited just added some books to their inventory that I am so excited about and was actually going to purchase, but now I don't have to. You might be saying to yourself, Char, didn't you just post a KU reading vlog like a week ago? It was 2 weeks ago now for you, but yes, I did. And I like KU. I was also editing a video before I recorded this, and I realized, why is the camera always like so close to my face? I think it's because my arm gets tired and I get lazy. I just bring the camera closer to my body. Anyway, I'm gonna jump into that. There are a few books which I'm gonna pop here. I literally just looked at the name of them and then completely forgot them. Me and names, it's ridiculous, are the ones that I am most excited to read. I'm gonna get into that, and then I have to do some planning for my trip because it is 2 weeks. I have like roughly the first week planned out with hotels and flights and stuff, but I need to plan out the second week, including where exactly I'm going in those 2 weeks. I just wanted to give you that update. We're going to get started on that. The book that I'm currently reading is I Married a Dragon, which is part of the Prime Mating series, which I, for the most part, really enjoy. I haven't read all of them, but it starts with I Married a Lizard Man, which is infamous at this point. I Married a Dragon is about kind of the same thing, except that the dragon doesn't have a fated mate. They have something called like an Inja, which essentially is like a healing person. So they have a match in that, and that person is able to heal them whenever they're infected with poisons. It's part of like dragon health systems. He doesn't view her as his mate, but it's a romance book, so I assume that they will eventually fall in love. I will update you when I have an update. Okay, this is a relatively empty and quiet street, so hopefully you can hear me. As you can see, we're almost in full winter time. I literally have not left my house in a while, so I decided to force myself to come out. Of course, where would I go but the bookstore? I tried to pop into the Strand, but it was so freaking busy and packed, I could like barely walk. And I was like, I'm not actually shopping, I'm like browsing. So instead, I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble. To no one's surprise, I have done no reading so far today, but I know that once I get home from my little excursion of Char is a human being and needs sunlight, then I will definitely do some reading, because mostly this morning I was recording videos, and because I'm often in my house in these videos, I figured let's just go outside and do some stuff. So I'll see you at Barnes & Noble. So it's been a couple of days. I got super sick and was struggling real hard over the entire weekend, but I am finally feeling better. I'm going to continue on with reading some KU books. I wanted to let you know that I did decide to DNF the book that I was reading, which was I Married a Dragon. It was a lot of info dumping. Like, it felt like we would go through pages and pages and pages of like one-sided conversation. Our hero, while soft and gentle, didn't really respect our main character's boundaries, and our main character yielded to all of his requests far too easily for me. So I had to DNF after reading a few reviews and seeing that it gets worse and not better with some of the aspects that are making me uncomfortable. So I stopped that. I also decided to start reading Psycho, which is book 2 in the Necessary Evil series. I haven't read book 1. This is a male love story following a serial killer and a psychic. Now, I have some reservations because I read the prologue. Don't read the prologue because it made me extremely uncomfortable with just some of the conversations about mental health and young children and trauma. I'm smiling, but it's not funny. I continued with it anyway because I know so many people love it. Maybe they just skipped the prologue. I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. That is all I can say so far. I'm gonna give it to like 20% before I decide whether or not to DNF. Excuse me, losing my breath as I'm speaking because I'm still recovering from that nasty cold. Something that I've been working on is not finishing a book just for the sake of like adding to my reading goal. Like if I'm not enjoying a book, I should actually just DNF it regardless of how far I am into it, even if it's something I'm doing for a reading vlog, which is hard for me to come to terms with. But this heater is blasting at 8 million degrees, so I wanted to give you the update of the very, very small amount of reading that I was able to get done while I was truly overcome with this cold. Morning. Why do you look like that?
Like what? Like a troll.
I just woke up. I definitely need to drink some water. Unfortunately, my water bottle is broken and that it keeps leaking when I tilt it. Annoying. I'm getting over a cold. Like I was sick all of the weekend, which I told you. I'm recovering now. Yesterday was the first day I started feeling better, but let me give you the reading update as you stare at all of my cleaning utilities. I told you that I had DNF'd I Married a Dragon, and I also told you that I was reading Psycho Necessary Evils, but it was making me uncomfortable with just some of the conversations and handling of mental health topics. I DNF'd it, which I'm still coming to terms with doing in vlogs. Truly, in real life, like that happens, right? You pick up a book, you realize it's not for you, you put the book down. Yeah, so I encourage you to DNF, especially if you know that you're not enjoying a book. For me, I know what that feeling feels like, right? So if I pick up a book and I'm not enjoying it, I will usually not push myself to finish it, because in the times that I've done that, which I've done a few times before, I've never given that book more than like 3 or 4 stars. 4 stars is like a rare exception, and that happened with They Never Learn, and the only reason they got a 4-star was because of a plot twist. That is to say, I am reassuring myself that it was fine for me to DNF Necessary Evils, Psycho Book 2. I just didn't like how the mental health conversations were being handled. There's a comment in there about how she's saying that everyone, like all the professors are like neurodivergent in some way, that they can't be bothered with like social niceties. And I was like, bitch, that's not how neurodivergence works. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So the fact that I got the ick twice in less than like 10% of the book told me that it was time for me to DNF. Plus, I read a lot of the reviews before I made that decision, and they mentioned a lot of like torture and graphic depictions of violence, blood play, knife play, just lots of things going on. I know people mentioned that it really was like not a believable relationship. So I'm gonna DNF that. So I also want to say that it's not to yuck on your yums. Like if that is your thing and you really love this book, you're not wrong for loving that book. I'm just not going to continue with it. It's not for me. It made me uncomfortable in some ways, and just ultimately I really wasn't enjoying it, and I didn't want to read about torture. I instead moved on to this book here, A Something for a Duke, a historical romance about this girl named Kitty who is kind of a spinster. It's a historical romance, so she's not married. They consider her a spinster. She knows that her years are running up. No one really seems to be interested in her, and she has to care for her young sisters because her father has passed. And she knows that in society, the thing that matters the most is connections, and they don't have connections, and if she doesn't try to do something about that, her and her sisters are going to be doomed. Mostly she cares about her sisters. So she comes up with this plot that she's going to say that she's engaged to this reclusive duke who like is so infamous in the community. No one has seen him. She's going to say, you know what? I am engaged to this man. He lives up in Scotland. Once we get married, I'm going to move up there in the hopes that that's going to open up a lot of connections and invitations for society events and improve her sister's chances of getting married favorably, to just being married to someone that can provide them a comfortable life and a comfortable standing in society. So she does that, but the Duke hears that and he's like, I'm engaged, and he comes down to confront her. I haven't gotten to that part yet. That's just a summary based on the book. I know this is a favorite for a lot of people, and I will tell you I'm only like 5% in, and I immediately know why. It is freaking hilarious. Like, I've laughed so many times. The writing is just so like endearing, and then Kitty herself, her name's Catherine, and she goes by Kitty. She is very sweet, and I just like love hearing those interactions sessions. So I'm excited to be introduced to the Duke, and I just wanted to give you that update with my reading and where I'm at. Hi. I am currently wrapping Christmas presents, and I wanted to give you an update on the book that I'm reading while my hair does this. As always, I'm reading The Duke Who Loved Me, and I'm loving it so much. They have such good banter. I'm also in the middle of wrapping Christmas gifts. You can see that we put the tree up and the wreath up. They don't match, but that's fine. It's all good. I want to place you here while I wrap gifts, but I understand that is a very odd angle, so I'll time lapse it instead, and then give you an update when I am done. But I figured let's wrap some gifts together. So 30 minutes later, I am done wrapping the gifts. They are all under the Christmas tree now, which is right there, if you can see her. I am 30% of the way into The Duke Who Loved Me. It is Friday. This vlog is going up tomorrow, so I am very much behind. This is true mood reading as I've recovered from whatever the hell it is that I had over the weekend. So with The Duke Who Loved Me, I'm really enjoying it. The Duke, his name is Alexander. Obviously, it's a historical romance, so they call him His Grace. He has really good banter with Kitty, and what I like is that they both have completely different ideas of who each other is. And obviously, he's come to town because he's just like, I'm engaged. Who the hell is Kitty? So their banter is really great. I know that they're going to fall in love, and I'm just excited to continue on with it. Because I am so behind with this vlog, I'm hoping that I'm also going to be able to finish a Nordic King, which I believe is like a royal single dad falling in love with his nanny, I think. So I am really excited to get to that, but that does mean that I'm going to be reading all day. Hello. It is almost midnight on Friday. I worry that this vlog will be delayed, but I want to finish the 2 books that I'm reading. So as you know, I'm reading The Duke Who Loved Me, something like that. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm at the 70% mark and really enjoying how their relationship is developing. What I will say is that true to historical romance, it can feel a little bit slow at times, and I feel like the middle is dragging a little bit. But with that said, I have less than 100 pages. I think that their banter is really cute. They also have great like sexual tension and chemistry. Obviously, like nothing really has happened, so I'll be excited when that does happen in the book. The second book that I decided to start via audiobook, although it is on Kindle Unlimited right now, as well, is a Nordic King, and I've only listened to the first chapter of that, but I'm listening to it super quickly, so it will take me about 4 hours to finish that book, which I plan to do tomorrow, because as you all know, I disrupt my sleep for no one, so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. I was saying that, gosh, that cough really sneaks up on me, is really enjoyable and surprisingly like so dark. I was like, damn, what an emotional roller coaster. I did get to our like female main character, and her voice doesn't match with what I picture her to sound like in the book. So we'll see if I continue with that. Sometimes I listen to the audiobook faster and sometimes I read faster. So it will just depend. But wanted to make sure I give you that 70% update before I jump back into reading. If this vlog is late, you know why, okay? For like half of the week, I was sick, okay? I'm really sorry, but I want to get this done and make sure that I do some actual reading because we've already DNF'd 2 books in this vlog. Okay, I finished my darling Duke. I think for like half of this vlog, I was literally telling you that it was called The Duke Who Loved Me. I think that's Bridgerton. I was not reading Bridgerton. I was reading the book I literally just said I was reading and already forgot the name of, but it's right here for you. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I really loved it. I thought it was so much fun to read. I will tell you right now, Alexander is arrogant, but I absolutely love him. So I'm not sure if I ever told you the premise. We are following Kitty and Alexander. Now, Kitty has already had her 4th season and she has no marriage prospects. Her family has very, very poor connections and she fears that they are doomed to a life of like poverty and strife, and she wants to save her sisters. So she comes up with this plan to pretend to be engaged to a very infamous duke that no one has seen for a long time. She thinks no one's gonna find out, but her plan is to use his connections so that her sisters could get married, and then she herself will like say, actually, we're not engaged, we're calling off the engagement, and that's her plan. But of course, Mr. Duke Alexander, he finds out and he's like, who is this woman who has the audacity to say that we are engaged and to spend my money? So he goes down to meet her and they gradually fall in love. But Alexander was in a really bad accident when he was like a teenager trying to save his little sister, and that left him disabled and scarred, and society kind of says that he's a monster because of that, and obviously that presents a lot for him to deal with, understandably, and it's something that he brings into the relationship, and that he believes that to love Kitty, and to marry her would be to doom her to a life of like loneliness. So it's such a cute story. Alexander is arrogant, just to warn you, very much making decisions for her, just so you know. But they do fall in love, and Kitty has her own fire, and I really enjoyed the series, and I really enjoyed the story and how they interacted with each other and all of their cute scenes. There's like a scene where they're picnicking, or they're in a tree and they're going on like a rowboat. They're in the conservatory and they are like in this super small cottage and there's only one bed, and it was just a super cute time. I might have to make my peace with this vlog going up tomorrow as opposed to today, which is Saturday, because next on my list is to read a Nordic King. Now my plan is to go for a walk and then to play The Sims while I'm listening to the audiobook for this. So I'll see you when I have made it more than 1 chapter into a Nordic King. So I am 47% of the way into a Nordic King. I am really enjoying it. It's just like all of the royalty that you've been looking for, just fluff. The girls, Clara and Freya, are so precious. I love the relationship that they have with their nanny Aurora. So I'm nearly 50% of the way through the book, and they are just now starting to tolerate each other. So it's definitely giving those almost enemies to lovers vibe. though there's no reason why they wouldn't be enemies. It's just that Axel is literally an asshole. She calls him King Asshole in her head. So I just wanted to give you that update of it is a super fast read, and although the audiobook is good, I didn't listen to it past that first chapter because I really enjoyed the experience of reading the ebook. I wanted to give you that update, especially because normally I update you inside my house, and I figure it'd be nice to update you while I'm outside just walking around New York. I am home. I just took like a nice long walk with my mom. We popped into Old Navy. Surprisingly, their Black Friday sale was still going on and they had really great deals. Like their jeans were only $12. So I picked that up. I got like a sweater for like $8. So it was a great deal. I am going to be taking that with me on my 2-week backpacking trip, which I'm so excited for. At this point, it is about 3 days away. I wanted to give you an update that I did pick up some pumpkin boba while I was shopping. I have it with me, but for some reason I didn't say half the sweetness, so now it's like sickeningly sweet. It's delicious, but also kind of just want to throw up because there's way too much sugar in it. I'm also continuing to read Nordic King and I am enjoying it, but I have to pop my own bubble here for a second because we've gone from the characters really kind of disliking each other to them having literally like one conversation where he's not a complete asshole to her, and then all of a sudden my girl's like, I have a huge crush on him and I'm obsessed with him. And I'm like, girly, for what? Why? Like, this man has not been nice to you. And the fact that I feel like they don't have any grounds for her to be so obsessed with him, and she is obsessed with him, tells me that that obsession is not coming from genuine love. My girl has a lot of family trauma behind her, and I think that she's trying to find belonging. And because she loves the girls that she's nannying for so much, and perhaps even likes the idea of being with a king, I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't think it's true, but the very abrupt way she goes from like barely tolerating this guy to having a massive crush on him. And I'm like, girl, you like the delusion. You have a vision of who you think this man is and who he could be, and that's what you're falling for, but you don't even have half the details of the story. We do a big time skip of like 3 weeks from the time when they have one conversation where we don't really get to see the entirety of the conversation to her being obsessed with him. Tells me hopefully that there's been more conversations, but I don't think so because she says like he's been kind of avoiding her. So I don't know how I can get insta love vibes 50% of the way into a book. I don't know, but I can. So I'm gonna continue making more progress with it because I'm on sprints with Riley right now. So I'll see y'all when I've made more progress. I have like 60 pages left in. Why do I keep wanting to say The Duke Who Loved Me? That's not what I've been reading. A Nordic King. And oh my gosh, I look so greasy. Let's change the position. Even worse lighting, but whatever. I remember earlier I was saying like, yo, I just feel like we flipped a switch because my girl went from like, this dude's an asshole to I have a crush on him and I'm totally obsessed with him. And I was like, for what? You had one conversation. But then we switched to his point of view and he's even more obsessed. Like, my dude is like, marry me, be my queen, have my babies, I will give you the world. Which is so sweet. I happen to really love that trope. Really love it. It's a romance book, so you would know the third act conflict is coming in, and I'm just like so nervous. I know it's gonna be quick because I literally have like 60 pages left and we are just now getting to the third act conflict, but I'm still like, why must you do this to me? But I think in this case, I don't know what the third act conflict is going to be. I can kind of guess based on the conversations that they're having, and I think it has a lot to do with Aurora's past. So I am so curious to see how that is going to work out. But I hope that they are happy and in love by the end of this. So I wanted to give you that update in that he's obsessed with her too, okay? And they're super cute together. So much drama between the two of them, Dell. Like, honestly, not between the two of them, with both of their past. Like, honestly, it feels like a telenovela in here because I'm like, what the hell is happening? But I'm into it. I'm into it. So I'll see you in like 30 minutes when I have finished the book. I finished it. I am giving it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed A Nordic King. I love their relationship. And best of all, we have a best case scenario here. It's a third act conflict without a third act breakup. They were so cute, and mostly I was obsessed with how Axel was completely obsessed with Aurora. They were such a cute couple. They both had so much drama going on in their past. Like I mentioned, there are definitely some morally questionable things that go on, but overall, I'm so happy I finally read this book. It's been on my TBR for a long time, and I'm so glad that it was on Kindle Unlimited. That does bring us to the end of this vlog though, and that actually completes my Goodreads goal. It was 130. I've now read 131 books, and I keep saying so happy, but it was just such a good time, especially with the rough start that we had with this vlog with me DNFing 2 books. To DNF those 2 books and then end up reading 2 that I really, really loved and had been on my TBR for a long time is a great end. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you watching to the end, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!